By Alabama GOP Senate candidate Roy Moore. Here to react to it all, syndicated columnist and host of The Ben Shapiro Show. Ben Shapiro joins me now. Thanks for being here tonight on Justice. Your first time, Ben. We're thrilled to have you on. All right, Ben, I want to call for the sound of Kirsten Gillibrand from New York when she's being questioned by a New York Times reporter. Why don't you take a listen?
Is it your view that President Clinton should have stepped down at that time, given the allegations?
Yes, I think that is the appropriate response.
Don't you think it's rather interesting that within 10 months, where Senator Gillibrand from New York is like, Hillary Clinton is a role model for women, we love her, she's great, and she's going to drag along her hubby Bill, and then all of a sudden, yeah, that guy should have resigned. Besides being a hypocrite, isn't she opportunistic, and should people feel comfortable with her as a United States senator?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure that they should feel comfortable with her as a United States senator in any circumstances, but certainly, this notion that Democrats have suddenly decided that Bill Clinton should have been impeached 20 years ago, this idea we're going to get in Doc Brown's time machine and go back and get rid of Clinton then, they were all giving him a standing ovation in the Rose Garden when he was impeached, and now they're coming out and saying, 10 months after he becomes politically useless to them, now they're going to throw his corpse under the bus. And when they finally get a chance to condemn somebody who's actually sitting right now, right, Senator Franken, then all of a sudden they say, oh, well, you know what we want? We don't want him to go. What we'd really like is a Senate Ethics Committee investigation. And for people who don't know what a Senate Ethics Committee investigation is, the answer is it's nothing. It's a big nothing. Between 2007 and 2016, there were something like 613 reports to the Senate Ethics Committee for investigation, and there were 0 sanctions, none. So the idea, I mean, Al Franken called for an investigation of himself. He said, I'd like a Senate ethics investigation of me. Yeah. Okay, if you're guilty of stuff, and we know he's guilty, there's a picture of him trying to grab a lady's boobs on while she's sleeping. There's not a lot to investigate there. If you know you're guilty and you're calling for an investigation, that probably suggests that the investigation doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot.
But the whole thing is, when he apologized, and people say, oh, he's so great, he apologized. Hillary apologized. She said, as if she should be telling women how they should react in cases like this. The truth is, he apologized for taking the picture. He didn't apologize for doing all the things she accused him of doing. And yet the left that claims to be the protectors and the guardians of women are the party that never believed women. Hillary Clinton was part of the party that trashed women. I mean, do we owe women like Monica Lewinsky, on whose dress the semen was found, of the president of the United States, talk about an imbalance of power between a president and an intern? Do we owe her an apology? Do we owe Juanita Broderick an apology, who made an immediate outcry regarding a rape to a minimum of 5 women?
That's exactly right. I mean, if you look at the Juanita Broderick story particularly, last year President Trump during the campaign brought up Broderick, and the media said it was completely inappropriate for him to do so. How dare he bring up Juanita Broderick? Now we have op-eds in the New York Times about how Democrats suddenly believe Juanita Broderick, which says to me that this is much more an issue of political convenience for Democrats than it is about any sort of principle that they're trying to uphold. Suddenly they've become conservatives, typical kind of traditionalist conservatives when it comes to sexual misconduct, except when it comes to their own people, of course. There they maintain their old standard.
And what's interesting, for years, we have been paying off, the taxpayers, you and me, for the sexual misdeeds of those in Congress. Should Al Franken be forced to resign?
I think Franken should go. I think he should be forced to resign. I mean,
it doesn't
seem to me.
Roy Moore in Alabama? What should happen to him?
I've said that Moore should step down from the race, and I think that if he's elected, he should immediately be not seated. I mean, I think that the allegations against Roy Moore are incredibly serious. They seem to me very credible. He's done almost nothing to rebut any of the serious allegations made against him. And the idea that we are going to be seating people with credible allegations of child molestation against them that haven't been rebutted in any serious way, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me on any level. Listen, if we're going to have a country, if we're going to have a social fabric where we can actually trust each other regardless of what side of the political aisle we're on, then we're going to need to have some sort of standards for the character of the people that we seat in high office. I mean, this is getting to be beyond the pale, and it has been for 20 years, but it seems to be getting worse.
All right, Ben Shapiro, thanks so much for being on Justice Tonight. And who's the sexiest man alive? People say he is, but what do the people say?